Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and during the development of the expansion of Dragonflight, I was torn trying to pick which class I would main in this new expansion. Classes like the Evoker, Shaman, Warrior, and Death Knight were vying for my attention, but my original main, the Rogue, kept pulling me back in. I was left impressed with the work they've done so far. Our Rogue came out strong and continues to dominate in Mythic Plus dungeons. Assassination rogues are just as deadly, able to hold a competitive edge within raids against bosses. But it now seems that the spec of Subtlety is on the rise, and it's carving its own place at the top in both dungeon content as well as in Vault of the Incarnate raid, able to quell the raging storm that is Mythic Razagath with deadly precision. So today I wanted to go over how to play the stealthy rogue spec, by going over the playstyle, rotation, cooldowns, openers, gearing, and consumables, in order to help you be successful when picking up this class as a new or a returning player. But right before that, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do. So let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel as well as hit the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you're looking to get regular class and content updates for all the future Dragonflight builds. Like always, I like to start my guides with the talent builds first. You can find the codes to these builds in the description of the video, which you can then import to your character directly using the import feature. Starting off, we have the single dance raiding build. If you've played Rogue in the last few expansions, you would have been used to Shadowlands having 2 charges naturally. In Dragonflight, many rogues are dropping the second charge of Shadowlands to pick up Cold Blood, which helps create deadly burst combinations, Subtlety for greater energy regeneration, and Deeper Strat to help empower the damage of your finishers. Alternatively, there is a 2-dance variation of this build if you prefer an older, more familiar playstyle, but the single dance version, in my opinion, is much easier to play, and can be a lot more forgiving when it comes to cooldown management. Next, we have the Mythic Plus Dungeon build, which enhances your cleave capabilities and allows you to shred through multiple foes with precision and efficiency. And just like before, we have a double dance variation of the same dungeon playstyle. Next, I want to go over the Subtlety Rogue playstyle and rotation. Subtlety Rogues are deadly marauders who strike at their foes from the shadows, putting in a heavy emphasis on getting the perfect opener to start the fight strong. Subtlety focuses on refreshing bleeds and managing buffs during downtime, and when ready, they leap at their foes, piercing their armor, striking with the utmost ruthlessness. Subtlety rogues don't really have a predetermined rotation, rather they use a priority system of builders and spenders. Your basic common point builder will be Gloomblade, which is a modified version of Backstab. Gloomblade deals shadow damage, builds 1 common point, and causes you to debuff your target when it crits, reducing enemies' armor value. Your other common point builder is Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike deals more damage, generates more common points, and can even teleport you behind your target, though Shadow Strike can only be used from stealth. Subtlety rogues use the ability of Shadow Dance to embrace stealth for a short amount of time, which gives them access to stealth-based abilities. You will primarily be using Shadow Strike from stealth or during Shadow Dance, otherwise Gloomblade will be your primary builder in single target. Once you have built up at least 5 common points, you need to invest them into finishers. First, we have Slice and Dice, which helps enhance your dagger strikes. Slice and Dice should ideally be maintained at all times as long as you are in combat. Next, we have Rupture, which inflicts heavy bleeding on your target. This bleed should be refreshed on your primary target at all times during downtime. Finally, we have Eviscerate, which causes enemies with reduced armor from Find Weakness to take additional 20% damage as shatter from the ability. When fighting 2 or more targets, your primary common point builder will be replaced with Shuriken Storm, which causes you to generate a common point for every enemy it strikes. Just like Gloomblade, crits with Shuriken Storm inflict Find Weakness on your foes, reducing enemies' armor value. During Shadow Dance, Shadow Strike remains your priority builder against 2 or 3 targets, but at 4 or more targets, Shuriken Storm takes priority inside of Shadow Dance windows. When facing multiple foes, continue to refresh Slice and Dice whenever it's about to fall off. and maintain Rupture on as many targets as possible, which becomes more manageable when using the Replicating Shadows talent as part of the Mythic Dungeon build. Finally, against 2 or more targets, your finisher will be Black Powder, which is an AoE finishing move. Just like Eviscerate, Black Powder deals additional shadow damage against targets afflicted by Find Weakness Armor debuff. Subtlety Rogue uses a series of powerful cooldowns, some of which require specific conditions to gain maximum results. First, we have Symbols of Death, an ability which empowers the rogue with bonus damage and fuels you with energy. Symbols should ideally be used on cooldown without delay while in combat to maximize its value. Next, we have Shadow Dance, your signature rogue ability. When using one dance build, we use Shadow Dance on cooldown. When using builds with 2 charges of Shadow Dance, we try to save at least 1 charge paired together with symbols. Otherwise, avoid sitting on 2 charges of Shadow Dance. Shadow Blades imbues you dagger strikes with shadow damage, causing you to gain bonus combo points. Just like every other ability so far, this one should also be used on cooldown. Vanish causes you to dive back into the shadows, gaining stealth, which grants you access to stealth abilities like Shadow Strike. Vanish ideally should be used to help build combo points outside of your Shadow Dance windows. Secret Technique is a powerful finisher, which takes place of Eviscerate or Black Powder. This finisher will primarily be used inside of Shadow Dance to gain maximum output. Cold Blood empowers your next ability, causing it to become a guaranteed critical strike. It's best to save Cold Blood for finishers like Secret Technique to maximize its full value. Subtlety causes you to gain back your energy and increases mastery for a short amount of time. Subtlety should ideally be used with Shadow Dance or whenever your energy drops below 100. Shuriken Tornado is an ability which, after a short delay, causes you to release 4 Shuriken Storms in a row automatically, generating you a lot of combo points. Shuriken Tornado should be lined up with Symbols of Death, ideally in AoE encounters to gain maximum results. To help maximize your cooldowns, Subtlety uses opener sequences to help optimize your damage during the start of the encounter. Starting with a raiding build. You will start this opener sequence with a Shadow Strike, followed by Symbols of Death, Shadow Blades, and any other buffs like unused trinkets or combat potions. Then Gloomblade. Then Rupture to spend all of your combo points. Shadow Dance together with Subtlety into another Gloomblade, then Eviscerate. Then Shadow Strike into Cold Blood Secret Technique, followed by another Shadow Strike, and then you follow into your priority rotation while carefully managing your cooldowns. With the dungeon build against single target bosses, you start with a Shadow Strike into Symbols of Death, Shadow Blades, and Potions, into a Gloomblade followed by a Rupture. Shadow Dance with Subtlety into a Shadow Strike, then Eviscerate. Then Shadow Strike, Cold Blood Secret Technique into a Shadow Strike again, then follow up into your basic rotation. This dungeon opener is a little different when fighting multiple foes. You will start with a Shadow Strike into Symbols, Blades, and Potions into a Shuriken Tornado to start building combo points automatically, followed by Shadow Dance and Subtlety and into a Rupture, then Black Powder, then Cold Blood Secret Technique, then Black Powder again into a Shadow Strike, Black Powder, then Shuriken Storm, and then proceed into your AoE priority rotation. To help optimize your Shadow Dance burst windows, you need to learn how to efficiently use the passive of Dance Macabre. This passive causes you to do more damage inside of your Shadow Dance window, with this buff stacking for every ability used during dance. Combat abilities like Shadow Strike, Gloomblade, Rupture, and Eviscerate help build stacks of Macabre, but also passive abilities like Slice and Dice as well. We can use the talent of Premeditation to gain Slice and Dice whenever we use Shadow Strike inside of dance windows, which helps stacks Dance Macabre automatically. Ideally, we'll be using Secret Technique when Dance Macabre is fully stacked to deal the maximum amount of damage possible. The perfect dance window using Dance Macabre will require us to build combo points ahead of time. Then we use Shadow Dance with Subtlety followed by Gloomblade to build one Macabre stack. Then we use Eviscerate to build another stack, followed by Shadow Strike, which builds a few more stacks, then Cold Blood Secret Technique. From there, we go back to our normal rotation, mostly consisting of Shadow Strikes and Eviscerates. When it comes to gear, we prioritize leather armor and daggers with agility, followed by your best secondary stat of critical strike, then versatility, which is equal to mastery, followed by a haste as your least desired stat. Your best daggers are going to come from the Brutekeeper Diurna from Vault of the Incarnates, or Fenrir's Bloodstained Fang from the Dungeon Halls of Valor. Alternatively, you could pick up the Enduring Shard of Teros from Teros in Vault, or Ner'zhul's Ritual Blade from Shadowmoon Burial Grounds. Your best trinkets are Controlled Current and the Manic Grief Torch, both found in the Vault. Alternatively, you can run the Windscar Whetstone as your on-use trinket from Court of Stars, or Whispering Incarnate's Icon as your other passive option. You should also prioritize collecting your tier set, which can be gained from slaying bosses in the Vault raid, and can also drop from endgame content as a great Vault reward. The 2 set causes your finishers to empower your next common point builder, increasing their critical strike chance, while the 4 set causes your common point builder crits to empower your next finisher. This tier set will not impact our current rotation, it simply enhances your overall damage we do by a great deal. When it comes to gearing in Dragonflight, I have to recommend installing the Simcraft add-on, which can take your character's armory and inventory and display them on the Raidbots website. There, you can select the items in your inventory and compare them against each other to find which gear drops will be your biggest upgrade. And you can also use their drop optimizer feature to find which dungeons and raid bosses could offer you the biggest item gains. Next, let's go over the list of consumables and enchants you want to apply to your items. Your weapons should be enchanted with a Sophic Devotion, though you can use Sophic Grid if you want a cheaper alternative. Chests should be enchanted with Waking Stats. Cloak and Bracers should be enchanted with Avoidance, and Boots should be enchanted with Watcher's Alone for extra stamina. Legs should be enchanted with a Fierce Armor Kit, and Rings should have the Devotion of Critical Strike. When it comes to your file, you have a few options. You can either use the File of Corrupting Rage, which greatly increases your critical stat, but could potentially injure you in the process. The File of Tepid Versatility is a safer alternative choice. For potions, you'll either want to use the Elemental Potion of Power or Potion of Ultimate Power, if you can spare the gold. Your weapons should be enhanced with the Buzzing Rune, which increases your critical strike rating for 2 hours. In most cases, you will be consuming a feast if someone provides one in a raid setting, otherwise 1000 Bone Tongue Slice will help increase your overall performance. For gems, you want to see if you can get yourself an inscribed Illimited Diamond crafted through the Work Order system. Otherwise, use Sensei's gems for increased crit and mastery values. And for now, that's going to be everything you need to know in order to get started with the Subtlety Rogue in the patch 10.0. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Have you considered of picking up Rogue in the Dragonflight as a potential main or an alt going forward? As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single live stream and video, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video, or discuss with the other members of the community what you think about the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.